people really want to hear about how narcissists get their karma. This is an early example of how my narcissist earns some karma, which I did not make a video about. And I thought some people might like to know. This happened quite a while ago, possibly even a year ago, or at least 6 months. It was a while back. So, the narcissist and I were in a very long-term relationship, living as married. But we were not legally married. But basically, we were together since I was 17 and he was 18. And during this time, we quickly purchased a house, and there was a discussion when we purchased it, kind of a joke, because there was no intent of breaking up at that point. I'm sure the narcissist was already planning it, but that since we both co-owned the house, we just split the value in half. That was just stated quickly and kind of in jest. Then, a few years back, I got some inheritance from my grandmother. It was $7,000, so it wasn't a whole lot, but it was enough to buy a shed. And I needed a shed for my business, and I could have had one delivered, but the narcissist insisted on building a shed, and it would have a foundation, so it couldn't be moved. I think this was also part of their plan, because they knew from the beginning when things were the worst, and it would be the most harmful to me, that the relationship was going to be broken off. And I wouldn't be able to take the shed with me, and I wouldn't be able to afford the house, so I would lose it all. That was the intent. And I do believe that's why they insisted on building the shed, because they did make a foundation where it was not movable. So we had an agreement where I used my $7,000, and that basically paid for the shed. But the narcissist put his labor in to build it, and I think he got a mini split and, dug, he dug a hole for conduit and ran electric. He ran electric out to the shed, so it was really nice. So basically, the agreement was that I had paid my inheritance towards this shed, which covered most of it, and then he wanted to get this. He wanted to get this high-speed vehicle. It wasn't like a race car, but it was more like a race car than your average vehicle. It would have been a very expensive car new, but since it was used, his car was only $7,000 used or something like that. So the narcissist did spend a long time building the shed, and I helped him some, but then I think the price went over on. The shed was finished to the level of a home, so it was like a tiny house. Extra money was spent that didn't need to be, so the electric was ran, and there was internet and a phone out there, and the inside was nice, smooth, and beautiful, and the siding was a custom color, and it had a metal roof. It was really nice. And I even ordered some antique blinds, and those were planed, and they fit the windows. So the narcissist spent a long time making this shed just how I wanted it, which I didn't expect. I was just going to buy one of those Amish pre-made sheds, and I had just enough money to do it. The narcissist absolutely insisted that he must build this shed. And now I know why. Because the Amish sheds, when they are delivered to your home, you can use a mule, pick them up, and transport them and move them later. Because the narcissist built what was essentially a small house with a foundation, it was not movable. And the plan was already to force me to vacate the house, probably be homeless with nothing, and lose my shed. So anyways, he got this sports car, and I used my inheritance, and I also got this shed, which was my business. It was my storefront. And most of the items were there, but I also had a computer, and I could do work out there. And if something was going on in the house, or the computer or the internet wasn't working in the house, I could go out to the shed. Or if I was in the shed and I had sold a lot of items, then I could open up a browser, and I could view the items to make sure I got them all. And this was very convenient. And actually, I paid to put a much larger shed in here, but without the heat, it is freezing out there. It's really cold, like, and the merchandise is cold too, so I'm like getting frostbite to do merchandise pools. But luckily I'm not selling that much. Luckily I'm not selling that much. No, I would be happy to make enough money to pay my bills. But it is so cold out in that shed, and I still don't know exactly where everything is, so I don't want to be out there hours looking for stuff because it's colder in the shed than it is outside. It's like a white metal box, like it's steel. And everything in there is like icicles. So, anyways, but the merchandise is clean, it's protected, there's no rodents, there's no dirt in there. So, anyways, the narcissist got his race car, his sports car. It was a sports car. I got my shed. And this sports car was like one of his favorite things. Actually, I would say it was his favorite thing. That was just his. Now, he did have nice tools that we were supposed to share, but that didn't happen. Good boy, Reese. And, let's see what else. Try to think what all he had. He had some nice clothing. Good boy. There's a puppy right here. He had some nice clothing. He had another car too. This was his second car. I actually told him to get the Camry because it was reliable and dependable, and it's a good thing he did because that sports car kept breaking down. Let's see. Just trying to think of what things he had. Like, he had this air system set up for all his tools, and he ran it throughout the house, so you could just plug the tool into it. And he had the garage. It was a one-car garage, but put lights in there, and that was like his area. And the back room hoard was his area. He actually didn't have like a ton of stuff. Oh, he loved guns. He had like 25 guns or something. He was only supposed to have 10, but narcs don't always tell the truth. I set a 10-gun limit just because we didn't have room. Like, there was a rat horde, and there's nowhere to even put these guns. Anyways, the narcissist, at first, when I mentioned, acted like he was going to pay me a reasonable amount for my shed, in addition to my half the value for the house. And then, the next time I hear from him, this changed. He moved the goalpost. It keeps changing every time. I noticed immediately. He would mention something, I'm like, okay, that's reasonable. And then the next time I saw him, or the next time I talked to him, then he wasn't going to do it anymore. He changed his mind. And then I was going to get less. So he kept doing this over and over and over again. And then I still haven't gotten any money for the house or the shed. But anyways, shortly after he did not give me money for the shed or the house, there was many other bad things the narc did to me. I had to borrow some money from family to be able to purchase the house I'm staying in now. I had to get out of there. My dogs' lives were being threatened. My life was being threatened. I wasn't afraid, but I really didn't want the dogs to be let out and get lost and killed. And I basically couldn't leave any food at the house, or if I had food, I had to stay there and watch it all day. So I had to move. And then there was rats. Like, the narc put mice and rats in the house, and they were starting to overrun things and making me sick. So that was a point where, like, I gotta get out of here. And so I borrowed money fast, and I bought the cheapest house that had what I needed, which is this home right here. And God saved this house for me. I have plenty of evidence that God saved this house specifically for me. But anyways, it was at that point that I was like weekly making trips back and forth, more than 100 miles one way. And I would load up my cargo van, which has, the back of it's 9 foot long, so and it's quite high. I can almost stand up in it. So I would jam pack that thing like Tetris, and I would spend like 20 hours loading my van, and then there would be stuff with like filth and dirt and dust because there was no furnace filter, and then there was like rat and mice like waste. I'd have to like spend hours cleaning stuff and then load all this myself. I was all by myself with no one to help me. And then I'm almost always falling asleep, driving back and forth. And then the narc was putting sedatives in my food, too, that I left there. So it wasn't good. But anyways, I made it, and it's pretty cool. Like, most people would be surprised to know that I moved everything, like, that is in my house, all this furniture, I moved that. All of my stuff, I moved that. My store, it's got 10,000 pounds of merchandise, I moved it myself with no help. But anyways, the narcissist, the narcissist kept trying to get me, and they didn't get me. And I think I was pretty cool. Like, I would just kind of tease him and like act like whatever they did was no big deal. But, you know, it was actually quite annoying having to guard my food or not be able to have food at the house. That did suck. And then when I leave, like, having the fire department called and they were about to bust in my door and my dogs were in there. So there were people gang stalking, people spying on me. And not those people, I don't think were trying to kill me, but those people would report back and, you know, let the narc know when I was in town. Let the family, I'm sure he wasn't the only one, his parents and probably my family too involved in this. And they would concoct little schemes and try to freak me out. And I think they messed with my vehicle. So I can't even remember, this is almost a year ago at this point. But they were messing with me, and then I never got paid for the shed. And then it went from seeming like I was going to get paid for my shed, which was in exchange for him getting the sports car, to I'm not getting paid for the shed, and he's suing me. So anyways, when he decided not to pay me for the shed, what's kind of strange is that people were noticing that he was driving his parents' car. He was driving his parents' car a lot. He wasn't even driving his Camry, I don't think. Maybe he drove it a little bit. He was driving a completely different vehicle. And so I don't know what happened to his Camry. Maybe something happened to his Camry too. But the word was, what he said, is that somebody hit his car. Well, if somebody hit his car, then he would have gotten an insurance payment and would have purchased another sports car. But he didn't have another sports car, so that's not what happened. So he didn't give me the money for my shed, so God took away his sports car. And actually, I remember, like, his sports car had been broken down for a while. He did a lot of car repairs over the years, because he would drive his car so hard, like, in the way he shifted and sped around. Like, he would break his cars. He would break, like, the transmissions. Because he would drive it like a race car driver. Like, total road rage. It's not safe, but I didn't like it because it would make me nauseous. So I didn't actually go many places with him towards the end. But anyways, I don't think he was even driving his Camry. So probably his Camry broke down or that got totaled. And then his sports car got totaled too. I remember, like, I was at the house one weekend, and that was right after I had purchased this home here, this lovely home, this historic home that I am living in. And I think it's before I got my car. Yeah, I didn't have my car yet, so it was right before I got my van. I had no vehicle because the narc had crashed my car. So my father had to come over and take me to the store. And it's like he'd come over, take me to the store, and then he didn't want to talk, and then he'd drop me off, and he'd go, gotta go. So it's this thing where God was isolating me, but I did need to get food at the store, so basically we hurried. Like, I was rushing to, like, be gone. Or, like, we went out, got something to eat, and I went to the grocery store to get groceries, and I dropped him at, oh wait, yeah, now I'm remembering. Okay, I got groceries, and then I dropped him off at the house, and then we were just going to go get some food at, like, Chipotle really fast. And we were gone for, like, maybe a half hour. So it wasn't long enough for the narcissist to get back to my house and poison all my food. So I really was, I really knew, I'd seen them poisoning my food before. Like it within the last month. They tried to poison my food. And I knew that they were going to try to do this. They weren't at the house when I left. But they had people watching me and spying on me. So that once I dropped the food off, and then I left with my father again to go to, I think it was Chipotle, and we were gone for about a half hour, then he headed back over to the house, probably to poison my food. Now, he said he was coming over to pick up his car. and his car wasn't working, so he worked on it in the driveway for a while. So anyways, I'm going to try to explain what happened. Now, he would try to come by the house quickly when I wasn't there and poison all my food. And this is one reason that I moved out quickly. And he was also, when it was threatening the dogs' lives, I'm like, I gotta get out of here. But, geez, I'm trying to remember all this. I'm trying to remember it all. Let's see. Okay, what I wanted to tell you, guys, was, how weird and how cool it was. Like, I was at the house, and basically, I got back from Chipotle just a couple of minutes before my ex-narc pulled in the driveway, and he was mad. I think we stopped at Chipotle, and then also stopped at McDonald's on the way back, because Chipotle doesn't have any coffee. So, I got like a burrito, and then we stopped, and then I grabbed a black coffee at McDonald's, which is the only thing that I will buy there. And, then, I got back just a couple of minutes before the narc stopped at home. And I was sitting out front, and I had like a folding table that was in the backyard by the shed. I had that in the front yard. And I was just sitting on that out in the front yard and looking up at the stars, and I had my McDonald's coffee, so I was just sitting there calmly and drinking it, you know, and just kind of hanging out and relaxing, because I had a lot of work to do, so I was going to enjoy this coffee. So then the narc shows up, and I think that his new brother, like the half-brother that they just discovered within the last 5 years, showed up with him, or it could have been his friend, because whoever it was either his brother-in-law, who was given up for adoption, or it was his best friend, which was another narc. I think that they are both narcissists, and I don't know which one it was, because they have a very similar body shape, and he was facing the other way. So the narcissist shows up with somebody to help, and it's dark. And I'm just sitting there, probably about 15 feet to the side on this table, slowly drinking my coffee, very much relaxed, looking up at the stars. The narcissist, drives up, and I think this is like his parents' car or something, and he's like really mad, and he speeds into the court, and then parks, and then gets out, and this point he was using black magic. And this is one of the first spells that he used. He said it was anxiety, but it was never anxiety. It was something kind of like that. So the anxiety spell does not work. It's a weird, yucky feeling, but it's not anxiety. And he would say, you're going to be anxious before. You're going to be anxious, or you're going to have anxiety. And then he would go do a spell. Like, he had to declare it before to get that one to work. But then there was a different spell that he used this time, and he used this several times right after the discard. And I had no idea what was going on, so honestly, this freaked me out. And that's when I prayed right away, and God took it away. God took it away. And so then I realized God directly answered my prayer. God immediately answered my prayer, blocked and stopped all the witchcraft. So this same spell was being used. So it was a feeling of darkness and evil, and it was like hatred. So it's a very dark, black, purpley dark black magic, and it just feels horrible. It just feels disgusting. It's like hate. It feels just like evil. And so this is actually the downstairs back room that was the narc's room would kind of feel a little bit like that. So I didn't go back there. That's where the washer and dryer and all the rat horde was. So. But I think there was a demonic gateway and portal in the basement. This sounds dumb, but you're with a narc for 20 years. This is just what happens. So then the narc shows up, and he is he's got this magic, and he's releasing this magic, and he's stomping around and being real angry and hateful. And he's also using this magic to emit this feeling of evil and dread. It's like dread. Evil, wickedness, hatred. And this is not a fun spell. I don't like it. The anxiety one, it's not really anxiety. It's not pleasant, but it could be a side effect from a medication. But that's not anxiety. This one, I don't like this one. but God will take it away. Anyways, I could sense that it was coming off of him, but I knew what it was, and I knew that if I prayed, God would take it away. But I didn't. I just sat out there on that little folding end table, which was kind of like a stool too, and I just sat there and drank my coffee calmly, and I did not let my heart rate go up or anything. I was just relaxed. I didn't run away because he showed up. I didn't yell at him. I didn't say anything. I just sat there and looked up at the stars, and I enjoyed my coffee. He was stomping around and storming, and he messed with the car and worked on it for a while. And at one point, I went in the house, and then I did pray and think that God took that magic away at that point, and the narc was surely aware. That's all the more you need to do is ask God, and God will deliver you. But I didn't right away because it wasn't as bad. The first time the spell was quite potent. But then, like the fifth time he used it, I know what it is. So, it's not like once you know what it is and you can stop it, then I think God was also slowly restricting how much that it would affect me. Because I had to be aware that this was a spell. This was something narcissists do, and that it's magic and it's demonic, and how it works, so that I would just feel it less and less. So I still felt it, but it was like half as much. So I think God was limiting how much I could feel this, and he was really mad. He's probably really mad that I was home in time and he didn't get to poison my food, and then he was probably also trying to intimidate me to going in the house or something, or being afraid, or going and crying. But no, I just sat there, and I kind of liked it. It was nice to just sit there and see him freak out. It felt like very powerful. Let's see, another thing that was weird. It was very dark. It was dark in the court. There was a street light, but there wasn't a lot of light. But the narcissist, he almost looked like claymation. He looked like kind of human mixed with claymation, like something was going on. And God had opened my spiritual eyes. Now, I couldn't always see in the spirit, but sometimes I could. This time, I don't know what was going on. Like, he was really angry, stomping around. So I think this is a different demon that was in the body at that time. And it probably wasn't able to control the body as well, because it's not the one that was normally in the body. These are all different characters. They have different specialties. Each one can do like one thing really well. So they take turns. And the one that holds a conversation and can do a job that goes to work, that's a serpent. So this was not the serpent. And this one was either so angry that they looked like claymation a little bit. They were so angry that they couldn't continue appearing human as well as they should, or I don't know, that God just allowed me to see it, because God did give me some ability, so I don't normally see stuff now, but I always know, I can discern, I see them manifest, but I don't know. I think that we're not supposed to just see walking demons, but it was fun for a while. Maybe we'll see them again. I think I can handle it. I never once freaked out, ran away. I stood calm, defended myself, and of course, I don't have any power. God's the one that protects us and defends us. So, anyways, the narc showed up, and his car had been broken down for a long time, and so he was out in the driveway messing with it for like a half hour, and finally he got it to the point, and then he sped off and drove away. Or I think it was either towed or he drove it. I think he drove it, but it took a long time. I don't know what he had to do. Can you tell I didn't go to sleep last night again? Can you tell? I seriously have trouble. I can't speak as well, but I want to get this story out here. This is an early story about karma. He got this vehicle fixed and drove it away, and probably within the next month it was totaled. This was, I would have to say, this was his very favorite, most prized possession. He spent many hours working on this. He replaced the engine. The vehicle itself was like $7,000. Then he had to buy another engine, and he basically worked on the shed to get this vehicle. And that was his own idea, but, he sacrificed a lot to get this car. He really wanted this car. And this is one way the narcissist will cheat. If they don't actually cheat on you with a person, he would always cheat on me with cars. He was an adrenaline junkie, so he liked adrenaline more than he liked partners. But anyways, God took his vehicles away. So when he came to pick up that car, and I saw him another time, when I had to go and negotiate with him and his parents, his Camry wasn't there. So I think he totaled his Camry like a month or two before that. And then he goes to get his sports car, and then he wrecks that in like a month or two. And this is what I mean. Like, and even worse things have happened since. And I wonder, like, this new woman that he's with, I mean, of course he's with someone else. They have to. They absolutely have to. It's their mission from the devil. It's not hurting my feelings. But I am kind of curious to see because I think a lot of the other supplies, and I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings here, but a lot of the other supplies, secondaries, like the tryouts, stopped by to see who I was, because I was selling stuff on Facebook and you could pick it up. And they stopped by. I made a video on this, and they were really nice, and I think they understood right away what the situation was. But my ex-narc seemed to be with a lot of very overweight, quite obese women, so I'm wondering his new wife. His new wife could be very attractive, I don't know. But it looked like his supplies were overweight, because they have pure, kind hearts. They have, like, beautiful spirits, but and they're not taken, and they have low self-esteem. So that's why I believe. But I think that he's getting more karma with his relationship too. And I'm putting this out here for you guys, because they have to be with somebody else. Like, their very survival depends on it. So it's not hurting my feelings. And I'm not going out and trying to find out who this person is. I'm curious. And I do think that God is pairing the narcs with other narcs, even worse ones in some cases. So he's probably with another narcissist now, who is probably cheating on him, is going to kick him to the curb after he loses everything. It's so sad, because I always tried to, like, build a life with what I thought was a human. I did see the possessions, I did see weird stuff, witchcraft was being used, my parents were drugging me when I got into a relationship with him, and I mean, like, stuff you go and get at the doctor, okay, like antidepressants and stuff, but, like, it messes up your mental clarity and your compassion and all that, but still, like, you spend more than 20 years with a fake person, you do care about them. Like, maybe not, how can you not care about someone that we did have a lot of good times together? And maybe the narc didn't see it that way, but it looked like it. We did a lot of things that were fun together. Now, they always ruined it a little bit, but there still was fun. So, yeah, I guess they were trying really hard to wreck my life, so. And I still, like, had fun during that. Gosh, this is, like, probably the worst karma for the narc. They tried to, like, ruin my life all these years. And they were still, like, I still look fondly at many occasions and times that I enjoyed myself. So I think this is the very worst karma for the narcissist. Okay, thanks for watching. God bless you guys.